New York City is considering a new plan with nonviolent offenders. Instead of putting them in jail and having them pay bail, in a lot of cases bail that they can't afford, why wouldn't it make more sense for you to put them in a system where they're being monitored to ensure that they show up to their court date, but don't necessarily have to deal with superfluous bail amounts that they just simply can't pay? Let me give you an example. So according to a new pilot program that New York City is planning on trying out, the $18 million city plan allows judges beginning next year to replace money bail for about 3,000 low-risk defendants with supervision options, including regular check-ins, text message reminders, and connecting them with a drug or behavioral therapy. This is excellent because keep in mind, these are, again, low-level offenders. These are people who might be caught with possession of drugs. And a lot of the people that are targeted are individuals who are just poor and they can't afford their bail. So we're supposed to have a system where there's a quick and speedy trial, but oftentimes that's not the case. So what ends up happening is people get arrested, they can't afford the bail, and they're locked up for months, which destroys their livelihood. They'll lose their jobs, they'll lose communication with family members and friends, and when they do manage to get out, or if the charges are dropped against them, they go back to reality and they have to piece their lives back together. It's a disaster.
I'm so excited when I read this because this is something I've been talking about for years, especially working in social services. The fact that we have this pipeline where people who are low defenders all of a sudden end up in prison because what happens if you're destroying their lives by setting these enormous bails and putting them in jail. And the fact that this pilot program is happening, I'm so excited. I hope that it works, first of all, and that it spreads. Because like you said, you're ruining people who economically cannot afford to support themselves, and then you're saying you have this enormous bail for, stealing a piece of candy, and now your life is ruined because you're in jail. Once you get trapped in that system, you start doing more and more things. This is the best thing ever.
Right, I mean, the city will save resources and people won't have their lives completely destroyed because of low-level offenses. So this started gaining traction because of some high-profile cases where people were caught with petty crimes, and as a result, they were just completely destroyed. I'll give you one example that the Associated Press wrote about. So calls for reform gained traction after the suicide last month of a 22-year-old by the name of Khalif Browder. When he was 16 years old, Browder was unable to make $3,000 bail on charges he stole a backpack. He ended up being held in Rikers for 3 years, beaten by inmates and guards alike, and held in solitary confinement before charges against him were eventually dropped. Imagine, charges against him were dropped. He was in prison for 3 years. First of all, there's so many elements of the story that are wrong. He shouldn't have been in prison that long prior to actually having a trial. He shouldn't be treated like that as an inmate. And also, I get it, he stole a backpack, that's wrong. But do you demonize someone and destroy his or her life because they stole a backpack?
Yeah, that's been the issue. It seems as if we'd rather just say, oh, let's lock you away in isolation instead of helping you and helping you to reform and understand what was wrong and helping you to rebuild your self-image, your self-confidence, and also rebuild your community. This is the best plan ever. The only issue that I do have, though, in the last slide that you read, was that they said that the regular check-ins, one of them would possibly be text messages. As someone who would want to see some type of one-on-one mentorship happening between whatever court-appointed person and the person who's has committed the crime, I don't think a text message is going to help. We're in a place in a society that sending a text message to someone saying, hey, have you not done anything bad? Not going to work. You want someone who's going to be able to be there, look you in the eye, support you, listen to what you're saying, and connect you with other services just in case.
And it's what I love about this is it goes beyond monitoring people. It's about rehabilitating people.
Exactly.
And I love that because when someone's caught with possession of a Schedule I substance or a drug that's very serious, like let's say heroin, right? You want to help that person. They're not doing heroin because it's a bad person who's just trying to cause trouble. It's a person who has a severe drug problem that needs to be helped. And by the way, a pilot program was rolled out previously, and the results of that pilot program were great. About 87% of the 1,100 people on supervised release in already existing city pilot programs return to court when they're supposed to.
Of course.
That's exactly what you want. That's the whole reason why people get arrested and then they're put in a jail cell. They want to ensure that that person shows up to their court date. If they pay for bail, if they get bail, that means that they're not a flight risk and all of that. There are lots of people out there who aren't a flight risk. They will show up. Just give them the benefit of the doubt. Keep your eye on them, don't get me wrong.
Of course.
But if it's a low-level offense, don't destroy their lives. It's that simple.
Simple and easy. I'm glad this is happening.
Yeah, me too. There's a little bit of progress. You know?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Slowly but surely.
I mean, Obama's, planning on granting clemency to people who have been serving time in prison for marijuana, and it's good stuff.
Yeah.
I like it.